Hello, I'm Leona Dooley, and this is Ebony, Ivy, and Thyme in the kitchen. And today in the kitchen, we're going to start just a little bit different. There are just so many things going on around us. We have the virus that we're dealing with, we have our families that are at home, many of them anyway, and we have those who are having to go out because their jobs haven't closed yet or because they're healthcare workers or deliverers to groceries or wherever it may be. And I just wanted to say that first, that I appreciate the efforts of those who, in spite of danger, that they are still being faithful and doing the jobs that they need to do. I am thankful for our healthcare workers and our scientists who are working many hours in order to prepare what we need in order to combat this virus. And if you are one of those people who listen to this channel, thank you, thank you, thank you. Second, I would like to share with you that when we have our families home like this, it's a little chaotic. Sometimes it's because you've gotten used to everybody going out the door. And there are days when you get up in the morning and you're ripping and running so much during the day, doing all the little things that everyone needs, that somehow or another you get lost in the shuffle. And before you know it, it's nighttime and time to go to bed, and the next morning and time to start over. So I am just saying to you, take a moment to breathe. Take a moment to quiet yourselves, to meditate. What I have been doing is taking the time and lighting my candle each morning. It's something that I've started doing since we have been going through this situation that our nation, our world is in. And I think about Christ and the fact that we are carrying the light of Christ. And so each day I'm trying to light the light of Christ in my window as a reminder to me that I need to carry myself in such a way to be that mother, that grandmother, that wife, that co-worker that shines, that has the light of Christ shining within them, and that you allow that light to shine outward. Be kind to each other. And that being said, let's go on with the rest of the day. Well, I don't know if you can tell, but we have been working on a project, and this is our way of coping when we're in a situation where we can't go out, whether it be snow, and in this case, of course, it's the coronavirus, and we are trying to physical distance ourselves from others, so in order to stay safe and for them to stay safe. So when my new refrigerator was delivered, they found that the opening that we had was too small. And I had wanted to kind of expand this opening probably for 20 years, but we never really ventured into it. And I guess part of it was because of the fact that it wasn't feasible at that point to tear it up. But you know what? Now that it was necessary, we are doing that. And this house is going on 35 years old, and when we had it built, it was it worked perfectly, 5 bedrooms in the works. But you know, now it's just the 2 of us, so we're starting to do a few things that we really want to do. So the big guy and a friend have worked together. They spent an entire day getting this framed out, and I'm going to kind of walk you in. You'll see, please excuse, I've got things, I've got dust everywhere, so I still have to clean. But there's the new refrigerator that's sitting in its spot, and we have been very pleased with that. So I'm just going to take you along as we work through this process. We had a snafu the first day, and the wet vac, my husband was going to use the wet vac to try to keep so much dust out of the house, and guess what? The wet vac blew so much dust in the house that we could barely breathe. And I mean, dust was everywhere. It looked like one big dust cloud. And so it just wasn't, the best laid plans did not work. So we are going to, I'm going to have to re-clean, because I had already cleaned the walls, the furniture, had wiped everything down, and now everything has a layer of construction dust. In addition to that, this week, I want to reorganize my pantry. I've been trying to work through that, and I'm not about to open those doors until necessary. But the pantry, from us just kind of running in and out, and it's mainly me. I'm going to tell you, I'll be honest with you, I'm the one. I am a firm believer that a pantry is just that. And so it is a place where I work. Okay, I'm being really brave here. I have everything I need, but is it perfectly organized? No. Is it organized enough for the big guy? No. How many times does he go into it? Probably once or twice a day, but I'm in and out of here all the time. So where I know where everything is, he doesn't always. So I'm going to be working on this pantry this week, and some of the things that I thought I needed to have in my pantry, I am going to take out. So we are in the kitchen. We are going to get it done. So I'm going to work on the coffee pot over here and get some coffee going, and I'm just going to take you along. We're keeping it real in this kitchen today. And we've got the coffee area straight, and that's about the cleanest place as it is at this point. So we are going to make some coffee. Hello, spring. So there we are. We've got our spring fling going on over there. So we are going to get our coffee made, and once that's done, then we'll be ready to move on. So we're right here, keeping it real and working in the kitchen. I have my broom in hand, and I am ready to work. So let's get down to business. The first thing I had to do, I don't know if you'll notice, but off to the left on the floor, you're going to see a tub that is sitting there. It's got quite a few items. I had 3 of those that actually sit across the bottom of my pantry, and they're there for several reasons. They're there to store larger pieces that I did not want to take up space on the shelf, and they're also there just in case something spills. Then it's easy to pull the container out, empty the container, clean it out, and put it back. So without having to totally disrupt the pantry. So I thought that process was pretty good. And that seemed to be working. So what I'm doing right now is that I'm just giving it a good sweep. And before I start to take everything out of the pantry, because that's going to be the next thing. Everything must come out, because if you remember, anytime you're cleaning out, whether it's a pantry, whether it's your linen closet, you have to remove everything and start fresh and try to reorganize. Now, I have on my vest, and that's not because it's cold. The vest is on because I've been running in and out. Today's just a little chilly, and I've been running in and out taking trash out. So I got so caught up in what I was doing that I forgot I had the vest on. So I'm giving you kind of a full view of the pantry and trying to get this camera situated just right so that you can see what I see. And yes, I recognize the fact that it's a mess. So I decided that since the big guy was the one who's having such issues with the pantry, that he should be the one to put everything back in the way he thought it should be organized. And I'm okay with that. So he is very carefully and meticulously putting things back in. I had been looking for my grapeseed oil, and of course with the big guy cleaning out the pantry, I was able to find it. Isn't it beautiful? I ordered this from California quite a while ago, and the color is beautiful, the smell is wonderful, and I'm going to use that tonight as I cook. So I thought, well, I'm going to put some down in the bottom of the pan, get it nice and hot, and then I'm going to add some, in fact, I'm going to add 4 boneless chicken thighs. You know, when you're going to the grocery store for in the situation that we're in with the pandemic, that you kind of have to take what you have. And so when I went to the store, boneless chicken thighs were the only things I could find. I couldn't find bone-in because I really like bone-in much better. So I have seasoned these with some grapeseed oil. In fact, they've been in the grapeseed oil for a little while, and some Italian seasoning, salt, pepper, those kind of things. So I'm just laying them down in the pan so they can start to cook and to kind of get a good flavor base. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to be the top of the line, oh my goodness type of meal, like, oh, everybody's got to fix it. I'm sure that everyone has their chicken dish, but this is what we're having tonight. And as you can see, the good thing is that I'm doing 4, and we're not going to eat all 4. What I'm doing is preparing for 2 nights. And so I'm fixing the chicken breast. I'm fixing the chicken thighs, 2 for tonight and 2 for another night. So I am just getting them down into that grapeseed oil and kind of getting everything started. And then I'll get things cleaned up. Now, I do have a little bit of pink Himalayan salt that I'm going to sprinkle in about, a half teaspoon. And because once I start to get everything else into the pan, we're going to need that salt. So I'm putting the pink salt in, and just sprinkling it over the chicken breast. And tonight we're going to have our chicken with some wild rice. I found wild rice. That's another fun thing about looking in the pantry. You just find all kinds of good things that you've purchased. And so we're going to eat out of the pantry as well as eat out of those things that I've picked up just within the past day or so. So I'm sprinkling a little extra pepper because I did not put a lot of pepper on it when I first started. Now, these are anchovies. I want that anchovy flavor, and they're in olive oil. So I'm going to get that open and get those anchovies down into that grapeseed oil. And I tell you what, it was a riot, because I just had not realized how much of that olive oil was going to come jumping out at me, so to speak. So I've got the olive oil. I'm putting everything in. I want the olive oil in. I want the anchovies in. And you know, the good thing about anchovies, you're thinking, ew, anchovies. But the anchovies will actually dissolve, and you won't even see them. Your family won't see them. But you will have that bit of flavor that is going to be in the background. All right, everything's sizzling, and that's exactly where I want you to be, with the sizzle. Woo-hoo. So I got more comfortable. You see, I've got all my in-house shoes, my house shoes, and they're good. I'm kind of toasting the back of those chicken breasts. You can see where they've kind of stuck just a little bit, but that's okay, because that's a part of the flavor level. And I'm just kind of getting those up. I'm using what I got, trying not to have to clean, dirty up anything else. So I'm just moving those around in the oils, and I want those to sizzle. So let's just keep them going, and let's see what else we're going to add. I've got a whole onion, so I'm going to put the onion in the center and let that onion cook. So you see my trusty wooden spoon. Don't be left without it, because it's great for all types of pots and pans that you use. And so I've got my onions in there, and we've already got the flavor level going. So as of this moment, I'm just going to sprinkle in some house seasoning, and those are my favorite seasonings that I like, that I put together, so that I don't have to shake everything. So it has a little paprika. It's got some garlic powder, onion powder. It has pepper. It has pepperoncino. It has thyme. It has oregano. It has a little bit of sage, and it just has a little bit of, you name it, it's got it. Those flavor levels that when you're eating, you want those. So I'm just giving everything a chance. I don't want it to burn, but I do want that heat to be sizzling enough that it's going to cook this dinner pretty smoothly and pretty quickly. So I had carrots, fresh carrots. So I've got my fresh carrots, and I'm going to put in, I put them into, I just peeled them and cut them in 4 parts on the diagonal. And so I'm just going to nestle them down into the pot. And what I really like is when you do it this way, it leaves the integrity of the carrot. You're not going to end up with mush. I hate mushy carrots. And so I love the fact that my carrots are going to have that crunch. I can bite into them, and they still have their flavor. Now, you'll notice that as of this moment, I have not salted anything again, other than what we did at the very beginning. And the reason for that is because I need to give everything time to cook a little while, and then I can taste and go from there. So I'm adding in, I found a bag of Brussels sprouts, just had a few. It wasn't even a full bag, so I have cleaned those up, cut them in half, and I'm just going to sprinkle those in, really, to get rid of them. I also had a jar of artichoke hearts, and they are in olive oil and vinegar, just a touch of vinegar. And actually, I'm going to pour off a little bit of the juice, but most of this, in fact, I ended up using the whole thing. They have been, they've been preserved in the olive oil and vinegar, and they're just going to give the background a good flavor. You'll see that at first I was just going to take some of them and leave some in, and then it's like, no, you might as well use the whole thing. Why not? So that's exactly what we did. So I'm going to put that in. And remember, we're serving this over wild rice. So the wild rice will, once we put this over the rice, it's going to soak up everything. So there we go. Everybody's in the pot. And I'm going to set this spoon off on the side. I'm going to let this cook. I took a quick top and just sat it over it so that everything could do a little sizzling and a little steaming, and making sure that everybody was well prepared. Now, you know what I added in. If you peek, you're going to see some olives. I had a partial bottle of olives, and I thought, well, I've got all these Mediterranean flavors. Why not add the olives? So that's exactly what I did. I threw in about 10 olives, and so that's going to give a different flavor base as well. So this dish is ready to go. Now we're going to plate it up. I cooked the wild rice right there in that Chinese container, and I cooked just enough for tonight's dinner. So I'm going to put our rice on the plates. Going to divide it up between the two of us. Woo, it's hot. Look at the steam coming off of that. And I took the back of my spoon, and I'm kind of making a little well in the center. Well, you'll see I started making that nice well, but eventually, to make sure that I had most of this taken care of, we're not wasting anything. Everything is going to be prepared, and I'm trying to keep it down to a science so that what I've planned for the day is used for the day and nothing left over. So we are going to, there's our plates. And now I'm going to get a spoon, and let's get everything in place. So I'm going to pick up a thigh. I keep calling it a breast. I'm going to put the thigh in first on each of the plates. And then I'm going to ladle the vegetables. And I'm somewhat trying to keep things on the half, because remember I told you I wanted some for today, and this is also a meal for another day. So I'm trying to make sure that there's equal amounts left. So I am taking care of plate 1, and there's plate 2. So it'd be very easy. Now look at all of the good au jus in the bottom of that pan. You know where that's going. I'm gonna have to go get a ladle, and we are going to have to get some of that juice over our chicken and rice. So I'm going to tilt that. And I'm going to pour it over my wild rice. Yummy, yummy. So we're going to, I thought, well, I got a little Parmesan cheese, so I'm just going to sprinkle a teeny tiny bit more on mine because I really like Parmesan cheese. And I'm going to sprinkle a little bit on the big guy's because he tolerates it. So I've got cheese on top of each, and we are just about ready. Okay, there's our plate. See the olives, the carrots still have their integrity. You can see the anchovies, and see our juice, our gravy that's over it. Dinner is served. At the end of dinner, I always want to leave my kitchen nice and clean and the sink nice and shined. So when I get up the next morning, everything is just perfect. let me say before we leave that I can't wait until the next video so I can show you what that pantry looks like finished. And also say to you, don't fear, don't panic, because all of this is just gravy. Remember, in the kitchen of Ebony, Ivy, and Thyme, that we work hard, we love God and family, and we know that anything and everything else is just gravy. Have a wonderful evening.